Hello everyone, Kenty Tiger here with Bengali Engineering and Play. We are back in No Man's Sky, pretty much picking up right where we left off. So, one of the things I was talking about was the freighter. So I am actually in my freighter. We'll eventually go outside. So this is basically the opposite end as you would see the captain. So if I go down these stairs here, we can actually go to the hangar bay. There's a set of stairs on the other side that will actually take you up here to the bridge. You can also stay up here on this level and end up on either one of these aisles, so there's kind of a hollow area here. So if you go aft here, then you end up through the airlock and into the door. And I apologize if the sound, let me see if I can adjust the sound here. I want to try and get it so you can actually hear the background noises instead of all my babble, but it's not too overwhelming. So I'm actually running the key. This is a GAC here. This game is a little bit messed up, which is actually why I started the other true survival game. Let me bring up my missions. So, objective, planetary base construction, construct and expand your base. Hire a base overseer. So you can see I've actually done that. So, yeah. And return to the overseer. The overseer awaits at their terminal. So, that's the next step in this particular mission. So, having said that, here's the GEC. This is my overseer. But, here's what we do. So, we press E. Come up to the conversation. So this is what I'm stuck with. So I can't actually, for whatever reason, meet this objective. I don't know what the issue is. Have no clue. So anyway, I'm kind of stuck there, which is unfortunate. So one of the things that I have gleaned is that you actually get certain components. So there are certain components that you used to get, like a voltaic cell, lubricant, these kinds of things that you created. So they were items in your inventory. Apparently you cannot create those anymore. You actually get them from your hirelings. So the problem is that this particular overseer, my construction overseer, he's the one you get some of those particular components from. So not being able to interact with him may actually make the game unplayable from the perspective of some of the other elements of the game. So this game may be unrecoverable. I don't know. So this is the game that I was playing while I was underway, and again picking this up from quite a while ago. I haven't played this game in a long time. I came in the Foundation update was the last time I played it, so the Foundation update had just come out. I played a little bit and then moved on to another game. So anyway, off we go. So well, let me go through. This is a very simple base, okay, and you have two choices. So if you see on a little GEC screen here, so as you're wandering around on the planet, and hopefully we will find one, and I'll try and mention it when we get there and actually see them. Bases, you can't just create a base anywhere. You have to find what the game calls an abandoned base, and then you build your base out of the abandoned base. And the abandoned base is this cylindrical thing that you see spinning here on the GEC screen. So you look for one of those out in the world, and then you claim it as your own and build from there. In the case of your freighter, when you have generated enough money to afford the freighter, they are pretty damn expensive. So when you actually buy a freighter, then there is a space. So you will come into this space. So you go through the airlock here, and then you enter into this space, and there's just blank hallways. They go to a bulkhead and end. That's what you see. But you can build your base in here, and it can actually be multi-level. It can be pretty extensive. although smaller than what you could build planet side. Obviously, you're inside your freighter, so there is a lot of room, but there are certain limitations which you probably would not run into depending on your design on a planet. So all I've done here is taken this central room. I have put in other rooms. Happens to be the square room, so I'm pressing Z here. Z is in Zulu. And you see all these different rooms that can be created. In this case, I have used this square room. And on my inventory, there's two different versions that show up. I cannot tell what the difference is, other than one will cost you 10 Heridium. So use the one that only costs you 100 iron. Then you save your Heridium. So these are all the different things. Again, Z gets you into your construction menu, and you can see all these. But this is what I have created. So there's a, oh, sorry. Only one way to get rid of that menu. So you walk into this initial room, which is all you'll see. Sorry, I made you dizzy. And then I added 5 rooms. So I added the 2 rooms on the side, 1 and 2, and then stacked another set of 3 out here. So 1, 2, the one I'm in, and 3. I built all of my different terminals. So you have 5 different terminals. So you have your construction terminal, wandering back through here, go through, oh, let me just get myself in the corner. So this is your construction overseer, and this is the construction terminal. So makes sense. I have not done any further expanding on the base because why? I mean, if you want to, spend some time and creativity, there are certain things you can do. So this guy here is your exocraft technician. Let's see what I think he's broken too. Yes. So you need some things from him to build your exocraft on the planet surface. So this game is probably non-recoverable, I think. So that was your exocraft terminal, which you have to wander around. You'll eventually find a Viking, which is what this guy's race was. Agricultural terminal, you have to find a Gek hireable. So apparently Gek are the only ones who can do your farming for you. So this is when you want to do farming of all the different plant life things. So right now this base does not support that because I haven't built it. So you just have to keep in mind that you got to build some stuff if you want to do everything. So put that one there. So this is your weapons stuff, and there's weapons research. You can see all the different multi-tools here that are available, and he can help you with that. So this is Enforcer Kazi. I don't know if that's correct, but he is your armorer, and he's another one that is, again, broken. So, oops. So another hireling there. So again, that was the 3rd room there, and we're back to this. So this is your science station. There's supposed to be scientific research, which I believe leads you down the technology path of discovering different technologies. So this science person will help you. Obviously a Korvax here, so only Korvax scientists. So anyway, again, I have not expanded this base. So one of the objectives is to build a farm. And again, I was a little frustrated because none of these hirelings work. They all come up with this, I should let them be. So I may not be able to do any more in this game, but I did want to finish all the different objectives to the game. Alright, so down to the hangar bay to get to my ship. None of these are interactable, so they're great visuals and all that sort of thing, but they don't really do anything for you. Alright, so, okay, my ship kind of appears to be over here somewhere. Yep, there it is. So, you have an infinite number of ships available. Let me go back up to the top of the stairs so you can actually see the ship a little better colors. So, why did I pick this one? Well, Tiger Orange. Do I need a better reason? This is a fighter. There's 4 different types of spacecraft that you can do. A science vessel, a shuttle, which is a smaller, I mean, all of them, the type of class of ship really doesn't matter in the end. It's all about inventory, and in the case of your ship, you actually have 2 different inventories, which I don't know when they introduced that particular thing. Your execute, so everything used to have a singular inventory, which is where you stored everything. In one of the variants, and again, I did not play the Pathfinder mod when they first introduced it, so I don't know where this was all introduced, but you now have up to 3 different inventories, which is really just unique to the exosuit. But your other craft, which is to say your spacecraft, the one you see here in the center of the screen is my particular spacecraft, and your freighter has a main inventory, which is where you can store just a boatload of stuff depending on how your inventory is laid out. In my case, I have a 8x6 grid, so the maximum 48 slots is all you can have in either freighter or your ship. So I have maxed out both the freighter and my ship in this case. And the ship and the freighter also have a technology area, which is you can't store things in it, but you can build your technologies for the ship in it. That's also true of your exosuit. So you have certain things for your exosuit that you can build, and you have a technology area where you can build just techno stuff. And I'll show you this. Your exosuit also has a cargo area. This game is hacked. Be right up front with that one. So I have taken things to the extreme, and the reason I have taken them to the extreme is because for me, gameplay is about having fun. I don't really want to have to deal with. Oh, here's another thing that, and sorry, I'm going totally ADHD on you here. You can actually name your ships in the newer version, and again, I don't know which particular update they introduced that, but so KTC here, Kenti Tiger Clan, Drifter Makumba were my 2 cats, and by cats I mean Drifter was a cougar and Makumba was a leopard. So those are my 2 sons. Anyway, so Tiger Orange here. I like this particular fighter. You've got the upright, and then kind of a bird wing type of thing here. So this is, I just think, one of the neater looking fighters, and I apologize that it's kind of dark in this space. When we get down on the planet in daylight, then you'll be able to see that. So I was talking about inventories. So let's actually show you some of the inventories. So tab will get you into your inventories. So I'm going to go back over to the exosuit. So this is what's in my exosuit right now. So in this case, you have some core elements that belong to your exosuit. So hazard protection. This is your main hazard protector. So any exosuit, when you first start the game, this is going to be in your suit. It's there. Jetpack, also there. Life support, also there. So these are the 3 main elements, core elements of your suit, which you will have. Now, jetpack is going to be here in the 00 slot. So in the case of those of you who really enjoy hacking, this is your X axes across the top here. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 8 slots, 0 to 7. This is your Y axis, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 slots, 0 to 5. Okay, so X and Y. So when you get playing in there and hack the snot out of your game, that's how this is formatted. So if you want to write things down and figure out where they are, you can actually hack and move things around, which is how I did it here. So you don't really need that core element dismantle thing, although you can see that bottom option dismantle. You can dismantle and move it. So now you don't have to hack your game. You can have this mod attached, and you can actually move things around where you want them. Okay, you see this has a white box around it, and you have all of these other protective elements that also have a white box. So this works in conjunction with this because you add this on, you see this little box here, you end up with a particular synergy that works there. Jetpack. So I have all three of the jetpack boosters, which function logically in conjunction with your jetpack, which is a core element here. So you have the jetpack, but these add some time ultimately onto your jetpack. Life support. Life support is, I believe, right here when you start. So I moved this one over here. You have 2 upgrade modules. I thought there were 3, and maybe I goofed and did not put the other one in. Let me actually look. Sorry. Is it out of there? Okay, I thought there were 3. Maybe there's only 2. So I thought there were actually 2 life support modules available, or 3 life support modules available, 1, 2, and 3. Maybe that is not the case. Anyway, some of the Atlas passes. So these are a permanent thing. So they are not a one-time use. When you have them, you have them. You have them forever. You get these from the Atlas interface, I think is what they call them now, the Atlas interfaces, which is like a huge space station, which you'll find that they're the Atlas people, whoever the Atlas people are. Okay, so without going into all the different details of the game, what all these different things are, alright, so let's look over here on the side. So we see general, cargo, and technology. These are the 3 categories now that you see, and again, the exosuit being unique because it has all 3. Your spaceship, your spacecraft, and the freighter actually only have the general and the technology. They do not have that extra cargo because they're all about cargo. I'm going to press D, which is going to move me, move one highlight to the left, sorry, to the right, my other left, which is my starship. Actually, let me, just because I was babbling here. Technology. So this is another set of slots that is unique to technology. So you cannot put you can't put items in here, but you can put any technologies that you want. So in this case, because the shield boosters don't actually attach onto anything, oh, there's where I was thinking my 3, then I put them on the second one because they don't have to attach to anything on the front to gain that particular boost. So this is all about shielding, so my hazmat gauntlet, as well as the shield boost, which are protection, total protection thing. I could put them over here. In this case, I have my health module, which do not attach to anything. Okay, one would think they would be part of your primary suit protection, but they are not. But they work in conjunction with each other. And then your stamina enhancers, which work all 3 together. So this was my health module 1, 2, and 3. And my stamina, which just increases the amount of time you can run. So those are in my technology slots. Whenever I run across an exosuit, a drop pod out in the world is what you're looking for, then I use that to expand. I do not know what the limit is. I'm presuming it's 48. Obviously, when you get into these slots, you're already at like 370 or 380,000 credits. So, or sorry, units. So they're going to get really, really expensive here. Now, have I truly found all of these units and all of the nanite clusters? Nanite clusters, of course, are used to buy technology if you find a blueprint trader. So nanite clusters became kind of another form of currency in the game, which I don't know the logic behind 2 different forms of currency. So most of the places where you used to be able to get technology as you were roaming around the world, like the damaged equipment, no longer give you blueprints. They give you nanite clusters. One of the logics behind this, at least as far as I've been able to read from the articles and everything, the reason they did this was one of the problems with that, the giving of the technology blueprints, it was random. So you might be wandering around the world, find 20 different sources for these random blueprints, and get the same damn blueprint every time, or a blueprint that you already have every single time you stop over. So the concept is to somehow streamline things and give you the technologies that you don't have, so you have a much higher probability. So I think one of their logics was that you collect the nanite clusters, and then you can sell those nanite clusters for the technology blueprints that you want from a trader. So and it actually says when you're dealing with the trader whether you have that technology or not. So you're not. It's not a mystery. Do I have that or do I not have that? It tells you right there on the screen that you do or you don't. So anyway, the technology slots, cargo slots. In this case, mine is 48 already. Now I have expanded these to the nth degree. So the slots here in this case have a capacity of 10,000. Sorry, 100,000. I can't count either. And these are directly accessible to you as you're roaming around the world. So this high capacity cargo capability, yes, this is cheating the snot out of the game, but you can expand this up to 48. But what I did in terms of going into the JSON editor and making these changes was to change these to a total capacity for any stackable item, which is to say substances go out to this 100,000 capacity. The items here, divergence cube is a good example, which is a product. It's a commodity. So that actually is stackable up to 5,000. So the reason I did that is you can spend hours and hours and hours going around collecting things, and it's part of the fun of the game, of course, but sometimes you like to just play and do the building, the adventuring portion of it, and you don't want to have to worry about, okay, I need all these different resources, I need this, I need this, I have to go find this. So I want to build this, but I need to find this. So that's why I have done this. So again, I'm not encouraging you to hack the game or do any form of whatever you call it. I can't really use the term cheating because this is a single player game. Who are you cheating? So whatever you find to be fun in terms of your definition of fun, then knock yourself the hell out. So to me, this is fun. So I have modified the game to the point where I don't have to worry about some of the more mundane things, and it makes it fun for me. I can get into the immersion of discovery, of adventure, and I don't have to worry about, oh shit, I just ran out of platinum, I need more platinum. Where the hell am I going to get platinum? So that's why I've done this. So this is for me. So this is the limitations that you can do. Again, 100,000. Why did I pick 100,000? Well, originally I did this in the freighter, and then I was thinking, well, shit, if I have to transfer something from the freighter over to my ship or over to the exosuit, then it just does, for example. So X, you see on the screen here is transfer, and oh, it even tells me where I can transfer this, so I can actually select where I want to go, but it did do it. So it says 0. So once I clicked it, it did it. So if I go over here to general, so we right click to turn that off. If I go to general, you see all this platinum, plutonium, ends up in your inventory. So these are not infinitely stackable. So this is game default. You cannot change these. All of your products, so in this case the Viking effigy, the Viking dagger here, are single items in your inventory. So they are not stackable in your main exosuit inventory. So to transfer all of these things over, for example, is an X, and it's going to tell me where I'm going to do this, and I'm going to put these over here. Exosuit. Exosuit. That way. General. Alright, so I did have both thamium and plutonium in my inventory. Or selenium, this is one of the new elements that I had not experienced before. So as you're roaming around the planet, these are kind of these specialized things that you will only find on particular planets. So if you look here on the screen, it tells you what this is: a powerful chemical that has resisted attempts at synthesis. It can only be harvested from the bark of the solar vine, a plant that thrives in hot climates. So if you ever end up on a just roasting hot planet, then 9 times out of 10, this will be a plant that you will discover. And we'll show you a little bit more about that. So the 3 slots: general, technology, and cargo. D to shift over. So this is my starship. In this case, I have some plutonium and titanium. And the reason why your pulse engine needs iron, so I need to get some iron into here because this works with iron. So my goal here was to keep iron, titanium, because titanium is an oxide. You use it for anything that needs an oxide. Plutonium is for my launch thruster because it only takes plutonium, just like this only takes iron. So you've got to find that somewhere. Everything else, the hyperdrive takes warp cells. So I have my stack of warp cells over here, and the deflector takes any oxide element. So that's actually why I have the titanium down here. So not completely full. So I've still got some stuff left. Why unstable plasma? Well, not true anymore, but your unstable plasma used to be used for your plasma grenades that was in your multi-tool. Pugnium? Don't know if that's how that's pronounced. So pugnium. What does it say? A substance that leaks from the circuitry of defeated drones. So it used to be when you were roaming around in the world and you would take on the Sentinels, then you would get titanium, in fact, which kind of makes sense. I mean, the little Sentinel guys are pretty tough. So titanium. They changed that. So with the change in the elements, the adding of a bunch of different new elements, almost doubling the periodic table for the game. Pugnium. I don't know if that's how they intended that one to be pronounced or not. Pugnium. That is now one of the primary elements you will get from defeating Sentinels. Now you will get other things. Occasionally you will in fact still get titanium, but you'll find all kinds of different elements. So, general. So you see I have a lot of technologies here. Hyperdrive, which is a core element. Your deflector shield is a core element. Your pulse engine is a core element, and your launch thruster is a core element. So those are the 4 that you will find on any ship in the game. So you can add different things to the game. So I have fully populated my my photon cannon, even though that's not really the best. Is that the photon cannon? Yeah, I think the photon cannon is the one I like. No, I'm sorry, it's not. It's over here. Bing. So the one I like. Yes, it is the photon cannon. I think. So I have all of them built. Why? Because I have the space. So as I expanded my technology slots in the ship, and this is just technology. You notice there is no cargo here. But this is only technologies. And again, you see these colorful boxes around them. This is this synergistic effect. So obviously all of these cyclotron ballista things, the infra knife accelerator are the, I guess that's red, and then the positron ejector, which are the yellow ones. So all of these, when they turn to this box of their particular color, you know that they are functioning synergistically. They're functioning together, cooperatively. So you can see all of these have their different color sets because they're right next to each other. So they absolutely have to be adjacent to one another to get this effect. So if you have one here and one here, they would not be synergistic together. You would have to have them next to each other here, or in this case, next to each other. So it has to be directly adjacent to get that. So again, you only have your general and technology. If I shift over to the multi-tool, so multi-tools can be up to 48 slots. It only has technology slots. You can't store anything in here. So what I've done is expand the mining beam all the way out. So I have the beam intensifier, I have the combat amplifiers, and then I have the cooler. So the beam coolant system, which there is 3, and then advanced mining. So you can pick up things like titanium. You need advanced mining to pick up titanium. Chrysonite, you need the advanced mining laser. So that's something that you want to work towards buying that particular mod or finding that particular technology as you go. Beam focus, so all of these are just to improve the operation of the mining beam itself. The combat amplifier turns it into a combat capable beam, so you could literally just have that. I also like the bolt caster, so I fully expanded the bolt caster out. Terrain manipulator is something new. I don't know what version it came into, but so that's new. You can actually manipulate the terrain around you, which comes in handy. One of the things you can find on the world now are crashed freighters. No kidding, crashed freighters. A crashed freighter site typically will have 5 or 6 buried cargo containers, and you have to unbury them. The only way to do that is to use your terrain manipulator. So look for that technology early on, that blueprint, build it. It's a slot well worth use. So for example, when I was playing and I found a freighter, I was like, whoa, wow, a whole freighter, oh my goodness. My particular freighter had 7 cargo containers buried in the ground, some of which you can actually see the corner of one. They look identical to the containers you can build in your base, by the way. But when you open them, you find anything from nanite clusters to quite a sum of units. For example, 48 to 50-something thousand units. So that can increase your payroll an awful lot. So you definitely want to find those crash freighters when you have the opportunity. So terrain manipulator will help you in that whole thing. So some of the new additions to the analysis visor are the flora and fauna analyzers. So there are 3 for each one of those. So you have your visor analysis, your original visor analysis, or analysis visor, and then you have 3 analyzer updates per flora and fauna. So flora obviously for plant life, fauna being your animal life. And you still have the same 2 range boosters for your scanner. So those are all still there. And of course we have our plasma grenades. Now interestingly enough, the plasma grenade no longer needs unstable plasma as its energy source. Now you can add any isotope, which is to say carbon, carbon, thamium 9, or plutonium, which are readily available on any planet. So you should never run out of anything there. So anyway, that's the multi-tool, up to 48 slots. Can't go beyond that. And you have an infinite number of variables here, just like with your spacecraft, your multi-tool, and your freighter. It's all based on a seed, and the possibilities there. I believe it's a 10-digit hexadecimal code. So if you run the numbers out there, that's quite a few billion different options. That is not only the style, but the color. I don't particularly like this one, but I just chose a random seed. I'll change that eventually. There's actually several websites where you can find some of these seeds, and they contain the pictures, so you can actually find what weapon, what starship you want, what freighter you want, and actually add that particular one in as your dream boat. Okay, D key one more time to get over to my freighter. So in this case, another broken element, which doesn't really matter, is the technology thing. I can't actually make the technology. So you see I'm clicking on it, but it doesn't actually work. So all I have is the general technology here. So as you can see, I've collected a lot of stuff. Again, the capacities here that you see, this 100,000 and 5,000, was what I originally had intended for the freighter, because your freighter also has 48 slots available. So I designed this to say, okay, my freighter is my freighter. This is a huge monstrosity, so why not have it, you know, with a boatload of capability. So this was my base storage for everything. Now the downside is that it's not as easily accessible, and actually as I see it now, so I am on the freighter, so you see transport items or transfer items, the X in this case is available to me. Now that should be available when I'm down on the planet, now that that functionality, now that that mod is included. So you have to keep that in mind. The things that you put in your freighter are not readily accessible unless you have that mod installed. So you kind of have to think about what you're storing here. So keep in mind that really the only inventories you have are your ship and your exosuit when you're roaming around the planet. So anyway, this is also kind of difficult to see, but this is the singular largest freighter type in the game. So it is a capital freighter, they call it. So it is reasonably well protected, but it's also just massive. Now that, as far as I can tell, does not make your base building capability any larger. The Class S is the rarest of the classes, and you can also name them. So Shasta Kenti. So Kenti, I guess more history here. Shasta was my first big cat, which was a cougar. Kenti was the first tiger I ever worked with, the Bengal, and I am his namesake. So I inherited his name. This little pencil here is actually where you make that name change. So KTC, Kenti Tiger Clan, and then in honor of my friends of old. And this tells you a little bit more about what this is. So hyperdrive range, it can it can cross up to 572 light years. So lots and lots. All right, so that's about all here. A way to store freight forever. So obviously I've got a lot of stuff here. Gamma root is one of those things that you'll find as you roam around the universe. So thrives in radioactive conditions. So gamma, that should give that away. Fungal mold grows in toxic biomes. So if you ever find toxic biomes, then likely you'll find these. Now you need these things either for trade or for building certain items. So as you find these, you collect them and store them. Obviously, I've got a long ways to go to build this one up. All right. On with gameplay. In fact, let's break. I turned this into a second episode of Babel. But hopefully, if you have not been exposed to this particular game before, then this was reasonably helpful for you. You got to see a little bit more. So we will conclude this particular episode here. So this is Kenti Tiger signing off, and we will see you next time.